Being needy is like drinking wine when you're dehydrated. No matter how much you drink, it'll never truly rehydrate you like a tall glass of water will. Sobering thought, huh? If you're a man and a female partner has told you that they felt like they were mothering you, or like you were a brother, that's usually code for you're being needy. Or maybe you got the snag label, the sensitive new age guy. Ugh. As you probably know already, men, these are a complete turnoff to women. If you're a woman, it may have been that you were called clingy, needy, or overly emotional. Yes, being overly emotional is being needy. And this is because being overly emotional fills a need for attention. Even being aloof can be a needy behavior because we'll find someone to feed us attention while they're trying to get through to us. And if we look more deeply below the surface, often both partners are being needy. One may need to get attention and the other needs to give attention, both to feel better about themselves. As you can see, most of us aren't even aware that we're operating from a needy or validation-seeking place. And like anything, if we don't know that we're doing it, then we'll be bound to that behavior pattern, and it'll continue to impact every one of our relationships, especially our intimate relationships. Neediness can be a very sly pattern to uncover. It can show up in the most covert of behaviors. It can be hidden in people who don't appear to be needy at all. In fact, neediness can even show up in the form of a caretaker, the opposite of what most people consider needy in the traditional sense. A caretaker is someone who takes care of others, usually to the detriment or sacrifice of themselves in some way. They may caretake someone emotionally or by showing physical or financial support, excessive volunteering, and always putting others first. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to give, but if we consistently sacrifice ourselves in service to others, then there may be an unhealthy pattern. If we dig below the surface of the pattern again, there may be a deeper need we're fulfilling by doing more for others. And that need is a validation of self-worth. For most of us, this is completely unconscious. Naturally, giving to others makes us feel better about who we are. But when it becomes our source of self-worth, we're perpetuating an unhealthy cycle that makes us dependent on external validation. In our intimate relationships, some of the most common forms of neediness are being overly emotional, or clingy, or being aloof, wanting to spend too much time together, requiring lots of attention, or consistently needing lots of support in some way. Now, of course, there can be times in our life when we need more support than normal, and every situation is different. So it's important to look at these behaviors by measuring the frequency and consistency that they occur in our lives. Our intimate relationships are certainly the first place to look. Do we have past partners where we can see an unhealthy pattern of neediness that played out? It can easily show up with our friends and family too. In addition to creating a healthy experience of self-love, there's one very effective strategy that will help us immediately determine whether our current actions have any neediness attached to them. The direct approach to overcoming neediness is to become very conscious of why we are doing something. Why we do something is incredibly telling about the deeper beliefs we have about ourselves. We want to ask ourselves, am I doing this action or behavior to impress someone or simply to express who I am? If I'm doing something to impress someone, then I'm feeding my insecurities and lack of self-worth by looking for external validation. By acting in this way, I'm unconsciously saying to myself, I don't believe I'm good enough, so I'm going to do this thing in the hopes that someone else will notice me and think I'm good enough. Conversely, if I'm expressing myself because of who I am, then I'm not looking for feedback or validation from anyone. I'm being exactly who I am. I have a high sense of self-worth, and I accept myself the way that I am. A great example of seeking to impress would be when we're getting ready to go out with friends or on a date. Am I constantly thinking about how others are going to see me, how I'll be complimented because my jeans and my shirt match my tie? Or maybe I'm thinking about how they're really going to love the new shade of white on my dentures. Whatever it is, if we're thinking about the reaction of others to what we look like or sound like, then we're seeking their approval. Now, if I'm coming from a place of simply wanting to express who I am, I've already given the appreciation and approval to myself that I might have been seeking from others. I feel good about who I am, so I don't need to be externally validated by anyone. It's really about who we feel like on the inside, not what we are wearing on the outside. then what we wear is just an extension or an expression of who we are inside. Here are a couple more examples. If I'm buying flowers or cooking something for someone, am I doing it in an attempt to win them over or draw them closer into me? Impress. Or am I doing it because I'm grateful for them and want to express appreciation? Express. Or sharing a success or something personal in my life with someone. Am I doing it to brag? Look at me, I have the biggest feet. Impress. Or am I doing it to genuinely express my excitement? Express. If I'm complimenting someone, am I doing it because I want them to like me? Impress. Or because I really like whatever it is that I'm complimenting? Express. If I'm being funny, am I doing it to be liked by others? Impress. Or to have fun with them and laugh about life? Express. And many of these behaviors can be quite unconscious. It's important to keep in mind that a thread of approval-seeking behavior can be unconsciously thrown into anything we do. However, as we pay closer attention to our behaviors, it becomes easier and easier to identify why we actually do them. It takes a little practice to understand if any of the intent behind our behaviors has a neediness component to it, but it's definitely worth taking the time to investigate because it's a simple thing to change with very profound results. I use it all the time in my own life. So you get to decide, impress or express.